we're going to turn Cybertron into a giant mud pit. The Beast Unleashed podcast.
This is Starscream, the true leader of Cybertron, and consequently, all things Transformers. Get it? That's the name of the show.
Oh, boy. All right, are we ready? Steve?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't always respond, but yeah.
What a pleasant surprise.
No.
Where is my rubber ducky?
In the toilet.
Yes.
That was awesome.
This is Optimus Prime, and you're listening to All Things Transformers.
Hello, and welcome to All Things Transformers. I'm your host, Steve Megatron. Joining me in this episode of All Things Transformers is TFG1 Mike and Lady Wreck.
Woohoo!
Yes, we are here, and she is woohoo.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Yep. Don't get me started. I don't want to do it.
Sounds like a cockatoo. Woohoo! 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 Oh God, you're Woody the Woodpecker.
Great. I have been reduced to a bird.
Oh boy, we are here. We have 6 top stories. Some we can talk about. Others we will just kind of like give our opinion and move on. First up, we've got apparently back on March 20th, there was an interview with Jason Avalos on Transformers Rise of the Beasts. Fellow Transformers enthusiast Alfonso Nation, never heard of that guy, got to speak. I've never heard of him, never.
Nope.
Okay.
I haven't either, yeah.
I've never heard of either one of them, so it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. So you got to speak with Jason Avalos, who portrays a security guard at the supposed museum where it is presumed a big action sequence would take place. People can't hear me hanging my head in shame of even having to read those lines.
Wait. So are we talking about the next movie, or are we talking about a repeat of another movie?
Probably. I don't know.
Okay. More museum people, ahoy.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but sadly, the greatest part of the Museum Ahoy movies is no longer with us. May you rest in peace, Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Robin Williams. Oh, boy. So Mr. Avalos highlights the kindness of director Stephen Caple Jr. and the fast-paced shooting schedule. He also notes that the film is a proper sequel to 2018's Bumblebee. He teases that the fans are in for some crazy surprises that they will not be ready for, and he is lucky to be a part of the surprise. And there's a full video YouTube interview. It's 26 minutes long. I did not watch it. I figured TFW would just, get the main highlights and write them in the article like they did. Amy, are you excited for Rise of the Beasts?
I am not excited for Rise of the Beasts. I as mundane as I could possibly say, I am not surprised. I'm not enthusiastic for this movie. Okay, we have been here before. And I know, Bumblebee is so much better. It's like, yes, you're right. We were very lucky. But after having so many sequels and having, all of the hype build up and then, all the crushing disappointment afterwards, I have gone the way that I've gone most movies, except Bumblebee I was a little bit more excited for. You know what? I can't be bothered at this point because I know they're going to. I've already been seeing a few things that I'm like, okay, why does Optimus Prime have to be so huge? I guess, like Grellas are not normally that size. If you go back to Beast Wars, not that he was in the same size as Optimus Prime, but yeah, okay, all right. They're going to do what they're going to do. And I rather just be walk into the theater, have no expectations, even have low expectations and be surprised like I was with Bumblebee, or just be like, okay, facepalm the whole time and go, I want my 2 hours back. What else can you do, right?
Yes.
Go back and watch Beast Wars and say, oh, back in the day when it was actually really, really great writing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just came off of the Winter of Bayhem where Steve and I went through all of the live action films. And the sad thing is, as we kept going through them, we both kept saying, really? I don't hate it as much as I used to.
Honestly, I have watched all of them. I probably have watched the first two the most.
Mm-hmm.
I went back and watched and I literally have watched them a lot. So the first two probably the most, and then it just kind of tapers off from there. I have gone back and recently saw Dark of the Moon. Sam never got any less annoying, and I really hate everything about Sam, to be fair. And then I went on and did, Cade Yeager, which is not so bad, but I really did not like The Last Night either. So the last two ones just don't.
Yeah.
I can watch everything else, but Dark of the Moon and Last Night, just so much, no, cringe.
Yeah. All right, Steve, Rise of the Beasts?
I mean, you kind of already know my opinion of it, but especially that I when Iacon Online did their panel, I went on a tirade that I had to edit because I went on too long about how they were going to ruin it. And I understand their constant need to make it look like Michael Bay stuff, I wish that they would kind of evolve them a little bit more and move beyond that and make the beast actually look like beasts, or, have some kind of a semblance of the original character instead of whatever it is that we're getting in the toys and the graphics. Like, I don't mind the hybrid, I think their studio series or their main release. I'm not really sure which, but the one at least looks like an amalgam of kind of the original with like a Transmetal with a Beast Machine spin, like for some of them. Like, they don't totally look out of sorts. And then the ones that they chose are totally out of sorts. And I'm not enthused with the voice cast other than David Soboleff.
Oh, David's awesome. David's definitely anything that he's in. I'll go watch.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the main thing I have here is I'm excited for David Soboleff. I'm not excited for the rest of the cast. I really wanted them to go in a different direction with this, like, and they're not. I feel like it's going to be almost a rehash of the first Transformers movie in a different way. Or the second one. Like, I don't get the vibe that we're going to get something amazing and unique. I wish that they would have just kind of not made this film.
Oh no!
It's bad enough we had the version called War for Cybertron that was just as bad.
Yeah. And
at least they got the visuals right. Or for the most part there for modern CGI. And what's funny is they talk how bad CGI was back then. I still prefer it over the modern stuff because it seems like the new stuff is just kind of lazy or not as polished in certain lighting.
I can see what you're saying with that. Yeah. Well, I don't even know. Now that I know David Soboleff, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm like, yeah, that'll make me a little bit happier.
He's playing a Decepticon and Rhinox.
I don't know anything else. I don't know anything else about this show. I know that I've seen a couple of little, panels, and that's pretty much it. And a teaser video. I have not looked to see who's actually writing. I have not seen if Bay is on this or not.
He's probably on it as far as a producer, but he's not directing. It's Stephen Capel Jr. directing the film.
Okay. All right.
My
Learn
big
something new today.
takeaway from this is I don't really care who the director is. It's the writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, moving on to something we enjoy, which is toys. Yay. We have the Transformers Legacy Evolution Generation 2 Universe Toxitron Jazz and Cloud cover. Official in-hand images. I love that Toxitron. I know it's just the G2 Laser Prime. I don't care. Those Toxitron colors are amazing.
Well, they have to milk it.
Well, yeah. Hello.
It is Hasbro.
Yep.
This is the first time I've actually seen these images, and I have to say, you're right. I kind of like the Toxitron. It's not a bad.
I don't hate any of them, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But I like G2.
Yeah.
Very, very neon.
Yes, very neon, very almost black, not black and white, black light a little bit sometimes. Amy, what do you think? Because I think this is the first time we've had you on since this probably happened. The windowless boxes with just a little wire holding the figures inside, where kids can just run into the stores and rip them out of the packaging.
That's dangerous, for one.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, that's an interesting take on how to put Transformers in there.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the G2 Autobot Jazz packaging.
Yeah.
The wire is just across his headlights.
It's not even a wire.
It's not.
It's like really tightly wound paper. Like that's what they've been doing for a little while already. But there's no like keeping it in there. I mean, like, have they had problems with people stealing these?
A couple of times, I think.
Yeah, with the heads being stolen?
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, people would steal the heads.
Yeah. Bulkhead, because his head actually folds into his chest, a lot of the stores have been pushing Bulkhead's head down.
Sorry.
Bulkhead is essentially the modern day version of Ironhide and Ratchet. Those toys had no heads.
Okay, then. Well, I hope that they fix this problem. But, maybe they won't. Maybe it'll just be like the thing now. They'll have to, it'll be the onus will be on the stores to find glass cases, and you'll have to go and ask a person to, can I get a Transformer, please? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. Well, there you go.
Steve, thoughts on these three figures specifically before we move on?
Well, there's one that there's not an image for, and that's Grimlock.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to have a G2 color palette too.
Yep.
But no, I'm kind of excited for it. I like them. Not enough to buy them, but I like them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I for me, if I was buying anything but Funko, I would buy that Toxitron in a heartbeat, because I loved it when they did the BotCon set for the Stunticon job back in 2011, because that animated Optimus Prime Voyager class mold was used.
Which I have.
Yep.
I have that set.
Mm-hmm, yep. Toxitron. That green and... there's only two robots in my entire 43 years on this planet that I absolutely love green and purple with, and that's obviously Toxitron and Devastator.
That is affirmative.
All right, up next we have Agora Models Optimus Prime details. 38-inch die-cast model kit. So you got to build your own Optimus Prime, folks.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either. I love it.
Well, and this is the thing. I've really gotten into customs and painting and, building my own figures of sorts. I mean, heck, I bought a model kit of the Enterprise at Walmart for $5 because it was on clearance. And I'm working on that right now.
Oh, man. So I'm not going to read every single detail in here, but this is very important to know. This thing, and I'll get Amy's reaction to the pictures, and we can discuss how he looks and everything else in a moment. This is cool. This is the way things should be done. Available, since it's a model kit and you have to build it, available as a 12-month subscription box.
I hate that.
No, I like it. Because you don't have to, like, spend $1,700 to $2,500 all at once for an auto-converting piece of crap.
I was not prepared.
Allowing you to build and complete this museum-quality model within 12 months. At the time of launch, customers will subscribe to a 12-month plan, receiving 1 box of model parts to build each month for 12 months. Pack 1 contains more than 85 pieces.
That's going to be a huge figure.
It's freaking big. Like, I mean, I
love the detail.
Yeah.
I don't know where I would even put it.
Yeah. Amy?
This is actually really nice looking, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's really slick looking, and I don't know. I guess I can understand like where you're coming from, Mike, with you saying, "Oh yeah, a box of one box of parts a month will arrive for 12 months." Yeah, I mean, if you want to save it for the time, you do all of it all at once after a year. I don't know. I've got mixed feelings on that. I could see where it could be both good and not so good.
But you could also build it over the 12 months. Like I'm looking at one of the pictures here where it's just his head with the circuits and the windows.
Oh, okay. I need to click on that thing. Okay, sorry. I'm flipping through these still.
It's okay. Yeah, it's right after the OP patchwork paintwork Insta. So it's Optimus Prime Pack 1 parts 41.
Oh, I see it now. Oh, wow, that's funny. That would be, I can just imagine the people making pictures of this. He's head and windows.
I'm probably going to make this the banner for the featured banner on geekcastradio.com for this episode because I love this so much.
Yeah, that is kind of funny.
Yeah, very funny.
I better power to whoever does this because it's if you take the time to do it, great.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a fantastic build.
Yeah,
it's going to be a pricey build, but it's going to be.
But hey, Unicron, anyone? Come on, right? How many people bought that thing?
Yeah,
and in person, I will say he is very impressive. I don't have it. Just just to let you know,
you've seen it. Yeah,
I've seen it. I've seen it.
But
I've had a chance to kind of help pick him up and put him because I had a friend that took him to one of the TFCons last year. So he's very impressive. But this figure, this is I really don't build stuff, to be honest. So I probably won't get it, but I will be watching people who have it, like, hey.
So the pricing for this, the first pack is $75. Packs 2 through 11 are $150 each. Whew. So it is very, very pricey. That's not there's no denying that. But let's just do a little math here in the in the all things Transformers blah 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 blah. Where's the
I'd want to know what the whole cost is right up front. If they're only telling us box 1, 2, and 3, or is that box 2 all the way up?
Whoa, okay, yeah, this is okay. So this is what I can say from what so $74.99 for the first box and $150 for each additional box is what I'm understanding where it says.
Yep.
Pack 2 plus. In total, not counting any tax or anything like that or whatever, not counting shipping for each of the 2 boxes or each of the 12 boxes, $1,724.88 is what I come up with. Because if you
in other words, you're going to be one of those people that if you decide to get this, you want to make sure you have that $1,000 first. Because if you get all the way up to 6 and then all of a sudden can't buy the next 2 boxes,
you're going to be a sad person.
You're going to be a sad sucker.
Sad
you're
panda.
Be.
Yeah.
But Okay, so for me, with that, let's just say not counting tax, not counting whatever shipping might be for each box, but that price tag for this museum-like statuesque thing that just you can pose it, it can open its chest, it has a matrix, it has his gun, it has his axe, all that stuff for just above $1,700. This to me is worth more than what the RoboSen auto-converting one does. Because that thing has batteries, it's going to end up, the electronics in it are going to go shot at some point over the years if you ever bought that thing. So, I don't know, I still love the look of this. Like, this model kit thing.
One more detail. It's like Optimus Prime will come in a whopping 38 inches tall when complete. That's 11 inches taller than the HasLab Unicron.
Yep.
That we mentioned already. So
Yep.
that's a big figure.
Yes, it is.
It's like...
No, I can't lie.
It will be a toddler.
Yeah. It will be huge.
Yep. That's what she
I mean,
said.
people that were talking, the fun figures, the fun photos that we were seeing online where, people were putting it in a baby stroller.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This will be the toddler walking next to it.
Yeah, pretty much. And the fact that the very first image in the article, and again, folks, all the links will be in the show notes, of him standing there with the little bendy pose with his rifle pointed up and his finger basically calling his shot like he's a baseball player. Like, okay, Optimus, we get it.
No, he's like, I'm going to shoot that bird over there.
Laser
What
beak,
they should have done?
return.
They should have put like a 2-year-old right alongside it, so you could actually compare how big this thing is going to be.
Yeah.
Anybody's little 2-year-old, just go for it, man.
Pretty much, yeah. All right. So, regardless of the price, we still think it's absolutely cool.
It is cool.
Yeah, it's very pricey, and all that. But yeah, we do think it's very, very cool. All right, moving on. Rise of the Beasts Japanese release date, voice cast, and trailer announced. The only reason why I am bringing this up is because I actually saw this. Proto Man was talking about this because he talks about all the stuff just like we all do. But I noticed this because he had told us, and this article tells us as well, both of the original Optimus Prime and Optimus Primal Japanese voice actors are reprising their respective roles.
Because
Japanese fans will be really happy.
Because Japan loves their fans. And America doesn't.
Fair enough.
Yes. Yeah. So I thought that was very, very, very cool. Very awesome that they are getting to do that. That's great. Why are you playing with your toys, Steve?
Shh.
Yes. Excellent. In any case...
Are you building your custom still? Anyway.
Still building that, but I need 3D printed parts.
It wouldn't be a proper podcast that has, that talks about like news and toys and bits if there wasn't somebody in the background transforming something.
Probably, All right, up next, officially licensed Transformers Rise of the Beasts puzzles. These new puzzles made for New Zealand-based Holdson Limited Puzzle and Games Company feature 2 different Rise of the Beast character collages. We can spot Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Scourge, Optimus Primal, Rhinox, Air Razor, and Cheetor. They will be available in 300 and 460 pieces and planned only for availability in the Australian and New Zealand market at the moment. I only bring this up briefly because you guys are both parents. I'm not. But if these came to the States, would you have your kids do one of these puzzles?
I might be interested just because during the pandemic, I went puzzle crazy because when there wasn't anything new to watch on Netflix and all of that, the streaming services, we resorted to putting puzzles together. I know it's sad, but I've never I've never been against puzzles, but at the time I was looking to see if I could find some really good Transformer ones, and there was nothing on the market. Even on eBay, there was no. I was looking for something that what if the artists, old school artists back in the day, had done, because I'd seen some pretty cool Figueroa ones that I thought, that poster would be great as a puzzle. And that, I thought there's got to be somebody out there that thought puzzles were cool back then, right? Too? Nope, nothing. So
no, we did a lot of puzzles too, but this isn't something I'd get my kid just because they don't have the attention span.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They say it was 360 pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it comes to America. Maybe, I don't know. I'm almost all puzzled out at this point. I don't have any more room for puzzles. We'll see how it goes. And it also depends on whether or not I actually like the movie. Which, let's be fair, we've already
probably
discussed
won't.
that.
No. I know, but I'm just saying, it's a yes. Even though it's a Rise of the Beasts puzzle, it's a Transformers puzzle. I don't remember the last time we had one of the last Transformers themed game puzzle thing I can think of is when they reskinned Monopoly for Transformers, and then they did it for Beast Wars too. Ooh, that reminds me. I have to get Steve the Monopoly Beast Wars game. I have to. All right, file that away for later.
Alrighty then.
Final story. What Steve is most looking forward to here. New Takara Tomy pre-orders for August 2023. Legacy Studios series Rise of the Beasts and Eternal Beast Showdown 2-pack. Optimus Primal and Megatron.
I really like this because they have masterpiece paint jobs. Primal, I can't really tell, to be honest.
I can tell in the robot mode. I can't tell in the gorilla mode.
The face is different, but I can't really tell in the robot mode as much, except for the katanas that he's got in the hands. But the Megatron is heads and tails different from the War for Cybertron one we got.
Yeah.
I have that one, and I had to get a Toy Hacks just to make it look halfway decent. Because there was, granted, I got him is the minute he came out. So there was no, there was no wait time, and I knew that they were eventually going to go on sale, and eventually, I had a feeling that Takara was going to do this. But I love the masterpiece paint job, the level of detail, and then that scowly face that they purposely didn't let us see, and it leaked at one point when T-Rex was coming out, and everybody's going, I wonder if they're going to re-release Megatron. Well, here we go.
Yep.
So I love this color palette. So.
Yeah, that grape face shininess is awesome.
They even put the shoulder pieces on there, those that kind of hang down, because the Toy Hacks has one of those too, but it was just seemed kind of a weird choice to not put them there.
Yeah,
on a lot of things, and the colors are proper. I don't know. I just really like it.
Yep.
If I was insane, I would get all the versions of Megatron, Beast Megatron, but I'm not.
Well, you are. Your wife won't let you.
Well, yeah.
Amy, thoughts on the Beast stuff or any of the other? I forgot there were other figures. We had in past episodes we've talked about animated Prowl, but thoughts on any of this stuff?
Actually, yeah, I was just going to say I do like the Optimus Primal and the Megatron, and you're right, the Megatron does look just really nice.
I was ecstatic when I saw the pictures drop of this. It looks almost straight out of Beast Wars if you're looking for the poor man masterpiece.
Yeah, it really does look really great. I mean, flipping through the pictures, and it's just like, wow, that's actually that's pretty cool. It looks pretty right on what I expect. I hope. Well, we'll see. Yeah, as the reviewers get a hold of this, like what they really think. Maybe they'll be like, yeah, this is like, if you want the best, this looks pretty good. I mean, I've seen some Beast Wars Megatron, but this, like, the pictures look really great on this.
Mm-hmm.
I have no opinions on the rest of them other than are they all Masterpiece, or wait, no, just the one. Wait.
No, it's just the Megatron
and the Optimus Primal.
I wish that they didn't bundle them as a 2-pack. Because I have Masterpiece Primal. I have no ambition for another Primal. Like, I want the Megatron, but
Okay.
I do have the Masterpiece one on its way. So,
Or you know what? You could just give the Optimus Primal to your little another, just influence another generation of Transformers fans.
oh, they have their own. When the reissue Primal came out, my youngest wanted that. My oldest wanted. He's got like a number of the core class, and then the Tigatron, the new one. So
Nice. I will say that the Cheetor that I'm seeing here looks like the worst possible. The paint job is just not great.
Mm-hmm.
I went and got myself a knockoff Cheetor Masterpiece.
It looks too fleshy to me. The color is just completely off, and it makes me want to go, ooh, that's Cheetor? Ugh. Well, Megatron looks like a hit. Cheetor, not so much.
Yeah.
At least animated Prowl is kicking ninja ass.
Yeah.
So, there is that, yes. That face on Skyquake doesn't look right to me. I mean, it's right, but it just doesn't look right, you know?
You know they're going to repaint that as Machine Wars Starscream.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the Cheetor figure looks... It seems like every trailer or teaser spot I see for the movie, it makes it seem like he's much darker than this. Like they went with a lighter tan, beige, mauve, or whatever color he's supposed to be.
Cheetah colored. That's just not cheater. Cheetah colored. That looks like I said, it looks flesh toned, and that doesn't really relate. I don't think I've ever seen a Transformer that's been flesh toned that worked great.
Yeah, no. It's crazy. Just crazy. I still love the Scourge alt mode. That truck. Oh, looks so good. And that's all we got for the news. Anything, Steve, you want to say about the news, or Amy, either of you?
No. Yeah.
No.
Looks great. Yeah. News bits. Woohoo.
News bits. Woo. All right, everyone. We're going to take a quick ad break. You're going to hear some stuff and some other stuff, and we'll be back right after this.
Because the world needs another movie podcast.
The Geekcast Radio Network presents for your listening pleasure the Cinema Geek.
Hosted by Amanda, Kevin, Matt, and Dan.
Each week we dive headfirst in the landscape of movies as we discuss movie news,
play movie games,
go in-depth on reviews,
and even have a top 10 countdown or two.
Also, don't miss our director retrospective series, where we review noted directors' movies film by film.
Bottom line is, if you love movies and love podcasts, you need to experience the Cinema Geeks.
You can find us on iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, or geekcastradio.com.
Emerging from the dark humor that was the Beast Unleashed podcast, Steve Megatron, TFG1 Mike, Pecan Court Michael, and the Cybertronian correspondent Optimus Solo move on to Transformers Animated with Transformation Animation Podcast. 20 episodes covering all 3 seasons of the cartoon, the books, and the awesome toy line. We'll also have cast and crew interviews, so get tapped with GCRN's next Transformers franchise podcast, Transformation Animation Podcast, available on iTunes and the web at www.geekcastradio.com. Get your tap on.
Decepticons, transform and rise up.
What was that universal greeting again? Never mind, I remember.
Ba weep grana, weep nitty bong.
Hey guys, it's Optimus Prime, and be sure to check out my YouTube channel. Join me as I have Transformers discussions, retrospectives, toy reviews, and more. You can also follow me on Twitter at Rodimus Primal, as well as Facebook and Instagram at Rodimus Primal Show. Transform and roll out, and be sure to check out my content till all are one.
Last big party of the summer, folks. Let's go out with a bang.
Hello, all sentient beings. Want the latest on everything going on in the Transformers multiverse? Check out the Transmissions Podcast Network. We've got weekly podcasts covering everything from Alpha Trion to Omega Supreme, from old school G1 all the way up to Cyberverse and beyond. And you don't want to miss Empire of Rust, the world's first and only Transformers live play role-playing game podcast. If you love Transformers, there's something for everyone at transmissionspodcast.com.
Discover a world of vintage and modern toys that's more than meets the eye with the Triple Takeover Toycast.
Hosted by toy writers and photographers Toybox Soapbox, 60 and TF Square 1, this informal and chilled out series of discussions cover everything from vintage Transformers to Mask, Diaclone, Microman and more, be it nostalgic or current.
Whether you're a seasoned collector or a casual robot enthusiast, all are welcome.
Triple Takeover Toycast.
Like science fiction? Of course you do, or you wouldn't be listening to the Geekcast Radio Network. Well, the Marku 42's Universe podcast is an award-winning sci-fi radio show that's been around for over 10 years. We cover everything from Doctor Who to the MCU to pop culture and everything in between. A new show drops on Tuesday mornings on the GCRN website and all of the major podcast platforms. So listen to the Marku 42's Universe podcast from the universe and beyond.
We now return to the Transformers.
We are back here on All Things Transformers, and Lady Rec, you went to TFCon LA.
I did. I had
Did
a
you go
blast.
for the entire weekend?
I went for the whole weekend, yes.
Okay.
I was there, present. Well, mostly present.
Oh, no! Yeah, I've heard those after parties at TFCon get a little wild.
They weren't too bad, yeah. It depends on how much alcohol you consume, which I did
Exactly.
not, so it's all good. But, you do realize if you're the ones that are drinking the alcohol that late, it means that the next morning is going to be really rough.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you have a table or are selling a whole lot of toys. I'm not looking at any of those people that had the big displays or anything. I'm not naming names. You will not hear it from me. If you want to know the dirt, you can message me on Twitter.
It was very unsincere, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, wait, that's a different convention. Oh, boy. So, TFCon LA. When did this happen again? I don't have their website pulled up. When was this again? This was, April?
No, this is
April?
March.
No, it was March, right.
Yeah. So, it's been, I don't know when this podcast is going out.
It's going up as soon as I get it edited.
Okay, so it was 2 weeks ago, basically.
Okay. So
the weekend of the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th of March, 2023.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. I remember that now, yeah. So what was your plan in going this time around?
Well, I've gone to a lot of conventions, but I've never gone and met Peter Cullen because I just haven't done it yet. I mean, I've been going for over a decade, since 2010, I think. Yeah, 2010. It was the first convention that I went to, and then the next year after that was 2020. Yeah, and at the 2011 one, he was there, and then I think there was another one that I went to that he was also there at, but that was way back when I was like, oh, you have to pay $75 to go meet a voice actor, and I was so new on the scene, I thought, maybe not this year. And then it just kind of rolled over to the next year and the next year after that. And I was like, eventually, I was like, you know what? probably should eventually do that, right? And then I was planning on going to TF Nation in 2020. What happened in 2020?
We all know.
The pandemic happened in 2020. I had just bought all of my hotel, and I had just put down money on a plane ticket. I'd say 4 days before we shut down.
Oh, man.
And I was like, oh, crap. And I was hoping to meet Peter Cullen at TF Nation in 2020, August 2020. And we all know how that went. So I kind of was on the fence about going to TFCon this year. I just, I've got so much going on. I mean, March has been pretty crazy. And I just thought, I just want a weekend off. But then 3 weeks before it actually went down, they said that Peter Cullen was coming. And I was like, crap, I don't know if I can get a hotel room. So and I thought, you know what? I should probably do that, because I'm not saying this, but I am kind of saying this. He's getting up there, and although I think in some ways we kind of hope that he's just immortal and will live forever. Yeah, that's not going to happen. So I was like, you know what? If he's there this year, I should probably do it. And so I had a friend that had actually contacted me a couple months prior to this saying that she was going to go. And if I decided to go, that, she would, split hotel costs. And luckily when I reached out to her, they had another bed spot available. So cool. I was like, yeah, this is my year. So that's why I went. I didn't go for pretty much anything else. I went just to meet Peter Cullen. So it was on my brain the whole weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I did.
So what was it like?
Well, I understand. So this is what happened. So TFCon had wrapped up their hotel batch that they have closed a week before they even announced Peter Cullen was going to be there. And I've been at other conventions where he has been at where there wasn't a huge media frenzy, but he's also, that was before he'd done 7 movies. And had voiced everything that he's voiced just in the modern era right now. Not just G1 stuff, but all the stuff he's done since 2010. That list is really long. He is really, and so I would say, so he didn't show up until the Sunday, which was fine because, that's a long day of work for him, meeting people. And I went ahead and went with the VIP pass. So I was going to do the photo and then the autograph. Right. And I thought the convention handled it fantastically. It was they had it down to an art, which was funny because the night before they were like, we don't know how it's going to go. We hope it goes well. And I was like, oh my gosh. But no, it really went well. I didn't really, I was such a basket case on Sunday. I literally didn't even get into the convention hall until noon, but I wasn't, my time for getting in line for the video or for the audio, for the photo op wasn't until 1:15. So I was like, okay, all right. I was so nervous that whole weekend because I'm like, I really overthought this, but you know what? For me, he was just the one guy that I was like, I'll eventually meet him. I know I will. But I was kind of it's the same thing that I had when I met Nick Roach and James Roberts and Derek J. Wyatt all at one convention. I just totally I'm gonna fangirl. I know I am. And he's probably the only one that I probably would. Him and Frank. So I'm like, okay.
It's a good thing Frank wasn't there.
What was that?
I said it's a good thing Frank wasn't there.
Yeah. It would have been cool if Frank Welker had been there, but and I say Frank Welker because there's a little bit more to the story.
Okay.
Anyhow, so the actual time of to the build up to that, of course, I was talking to all my friends and people, and the night before, like, we were hanging out in the bar area and whatnot. And when you go to TFCon and you go to TF Nation, like the voice actors and the people that are actually like working in the industry, if they want to go down and hang out with fans, they can.
Yep.
There's no media. There's no security. It's just like if they want to hang out with fans, they can. And I'll tell you, like, it's really cool that they do that. Like, it's super fun. It's just one of those things. And they don't tell them they can't. I mean, I'm sure that Peter Cullen could do that too. Randomly, he would not be able to do that like for very long, because if anybody, the public found out that he's like sitting at the bar hanging out, I'm sure that would be a problem. But for everybody else, it's not a problem.
Right.
Frank Turturro, Jason Marnuka, let's see, all of the IDW artists that were there, like they just hang out. Yep. And sometimes we get sometimes we randomly get other people too. It just depends on who they're talking with and whether or not they want to go hang out with a bunch of fans and get drunk or even just hang out. But it happens. So I had kind of been talking to a couple other people. I hung out with Jim Sorensen, and then I hung out with a couple other people, and I had been kind of basically telling everybody that I was going to go see Peter tomorrow. I haven't done it yet. Same thing that I'm saying right now. I can't wait. I'm super nervous, though. I don't know what to do or what to say. And, they're like, oh. So I happened to mention, like, as the night was winding down on Saturday, Frank Turturro was there, and he was asking me what I was looking forward to doing at the convention so far. And I told him, and he's like, he was so sweet. He was like the sweetest sweet. I love Frank. He's so fun. He remembers me from a couple years ago before he started voicing anything. And that was that floored me, because I was like, I didn't think he remembered me, but he totally remembered me. And I was like, oh my gosh. Now it's even worse, because he's voicing Starscream, and I was like, Starscream remembers me. And I'm just like, okay, this is really...
And super secret fun fact about Lady Wreck, folks, she's not the biggest Starscream fan.
No, I'm not, but I am a fan of Frank Turturro, I'll tell you that.
Turturro, yeah, he's awesome.
And to be fair, he does voice a really great Starscream, to be fair.
He does, yeah.
I mean, Chris Latta, old school, yes. But I don't think I have... Like his Starscream is just as close, or if not better. And I know I say that with some people out there like, blasphemy.
Well, I have a top three. Like Latta, obviously, Latta's in a league of his own, but I have a top 3 Starscream voice actor list for myself.
Gotcha.
And they all vary. So I'm going to cheat like Steve usually cheats. Like, I'm not putting them in number order, but these are my 3.
Okay.
Frank Turturro, Steve Bloom, and specifically to animated Tom Kenny. But the G1 versions of Starscream, it's a tie between Frank and Steve Bloom.
Gotcha. Yeah. I have met Steve Bloom as well, and he's super sweet as well.
He's awesome. Yeah.
But Frank has been at every TFCon convention in the last 3 years, ever since he's been voicing stuff. And he's like one of the fans, like him and Jason, and I'm not kidding. They're just they want to go hang out and just chill. Jason Marnuka wasn't even on the guest list. He showed up specifically just to hang out at the bar on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Oh no, wait, not Thursday. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. He was there just to be there with Frank.
That's awesome.
And I think he brought his wife too. So it's just to come and hang out with fans. So, he wasn't even on the guest list. He just showed up for that. He didn't even come during I think he might have came on Sunday. I don't remember. But yeah, they're just these guys are just they come to hang out with fans, because that's where it's at, is to not just to be at the convention, but just to hang out with the people afterwards, because we're fun. What can I say?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Frank told me, he said, because he could tell I was kind of nervous, and he gave me a hug, and he's like, okay, tomorrow, before you go see Peter, come to my table and see me. And I was like, okay. So I did, and he gave me a little pep talk. He was such a sweetheart. I'm just like, oh my gosh. And of course, afterwards, I gushed and said, I thank you so much to him afterwards. It was so weird, because I thought, I know I was like, looking back on it now, I'm like, I really was just a basket case the whole weekend, just thinking, really nervous about meeting Peter. And it wasn't that big of a deal. And yes, I did say so I took, when I went in there for the photo op, he was super awesome. I said thank you afterwards, and he was like, oh, thank you. And I'm like, I live off of every little thing that came out of his mouth in my direction. It's just, sorry, I'm a little bit of over the top fan here with this. But then when I went and got, I had a photo that when I went to TF Nation a couple years ago, I think it was 2015, 2013, something like that. The convention, they had a semi-truck there that was, I wouldn't say it was one of the movie ones, but I think it was one that they had gotten authorization to make it look just like Optimus Prime.
It's one of those, it's kind of like the Knight Rider cars for Kit. They have they're obviously not going to put the hero cars in a Carl Casper custom auto show, but they have, touring cars, and I'm sure that truck was one of the touring trucks.
So it had come over to go to one of the other, not the Transformers convention, but one of the Comic-Con conventions that they have over in the UK. And the guy that I guess was the dealer, or not the dealer, but the handler of the truck, one of the guys that was running or helping out on staff at TF Nation was able to get him to, hey, bring it over to our convention, because he had just done another one. And so because he was friends with the guy, he got to drive in him, and I don't think he actually got to drive the Optimus Prime, but they definitely did the Bumblebee and the Barricade that year too. But he didn't know that I was a huge fan, but he was like, hey, you want to see something cool? And I was like, sure. So I go outside, and of course the cars had come in, and they had set them all up and all that. He says, hey, you want to go sit in one? And I was like, are you kidding? Yes. And so, so I went in there, and I got a chance to take some pictures, and he took a couple pictures of me in it. And so I printed out one of those, because I was like, after I had all the pictures and I got to see him, I was like, oh, these look great. And I thought, you know what? If I have an idea in mind of what I would have Peter Cullen sign, I'd have him sign one of those. So, of course, I scrambled the last 3 weeks just before TFCon to find them, to print them, to have them with me, which I did. And it wasn't so it was a little bit of it was a frenzy, I'll say that, because the place that I usually print stuff at doesn't print anymore. And so I found this out, and then I had to, it was a little bit of a mess, and I was really, really worried at first that I wasn't going to get the photo done, and I thought, there's no way I can do this without that photo. Anyhow, so I got it signed, and the whole time I'm thinking, what do I say to him? What do I say to him? Because there's so many things that I want to say to Peter Cullen. Let me tell you. But just as I was getting up to the table, and I was thinking, there's just not going to be enough time. I can't say anything. And I'm like, okay. And that's really what it came down to, is that I just wanted to say all the things. And there will never be enough time in the world to do that. So I said, okay, this is your 30-second pitch. What do you say? And I'm like, oh, man. So I literally just told him, you are an inspiration to me. Because that's the thing that popped in my head at the last minute. And I was like, that really kind of does summarize everything I've ever wanted to say to the guy. So I thought, okay. And you know what? He didn't say anything. He just put his hand across his chest like he was when we salute the flag and we're show respect. Yep. And that's what he did. And it was just about put me over the edge. And I was about crying when I walked out of there, because I did the same thing back. And I just thought, oh, you're such a sweetheart. There's not much that's going to happen. I mean, because all of the people that I'd say most of the people that probably showed up to get the photo op and the autograph that day, I did not recognize any of those faces. Like, I had not seen them on the floor. They weren't fans that I'd say that I've rubbed shoulders with often. Those were all people from outside of the convention that showed up to get that. And then one of the things that I did with the VIP thing is I also got there's a special sitting area for his panel. Well, I've never actually, I've only attended one panel other than this one for Peter Cullen, which was way back one of my first conventions in 2011. And they didn't vet questions back then.
Yeah.
So you got a couple of those ones that were like, to ask the really stupid questions where everybody in the audience is like, really? Grown? Why are you asking
Prime
him
blue?
of that? Yeah.
Why is Optimus Prime blue in this one episode of the cartoon series where you voice the character? What do you think? Is Megatron Galvatron or is Megatron not? TFCon, Proto Man Daniel and all of the team members that work over at TFCon, they do very well on vetting the questions, because every panel that they've put on YouTube that I've watched of the Peter Cullen panels over the years, they're like, okay, you're going to have 30 seconds, 45 seconds, ask your question. He'll tell a story or an answer, and then you go sit at, you walk up, you ask your question, you don't leave. You can still stand there while he's answering it, but essentially you walk up, you ask your question, you leave. You don't dilly-dally. This is Peter Cullen, and TFCon's attendance is, I want to say, I don't even know, in the thousands, maybe more. I don't know.
I don't know.
There's a lot of people.
Yeah, there's a lot of people there.
Yeah.
But they had the convention set up the way that they did, but I'd say Peter Cullen was the attraction. And I think they, I don't know if I'm not going to assume anybody, but back in the day, in the last couple of years, the media frenzy around Cullen has been extreme. People fans finding out he's going to be somewhere, and they go to the airport. One of the girls I talked to at TFCon, they had that problem. She's like, "Yeah, I was the one that was driving him from the airport when this happened."
Oh, no.
She was like, it was super stressful, because you're like, he's stressed, I'm stressed, he doesn't like to be around and you're driving in the car with somebody that you look up to, and he's super ticked. And you're like, oh, boy, I hope, if better things could happen. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you. She's like, well, it happened, but, it's really taught them really quick that they had to up their game with him. And that was a while ago. So that was I'd say pre-pandemic, maybe after.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I remember there was a news report out going that there was a whole bunch of paparazzi after him or whatever. And I think that might have been it. But the whole point is, with Cullen, they have to kind of do a little bit more than they do with other guests.
Oh, absolutely, and rightfully so. I mean, again,
if you were one of the VIPs, you got to submit as many questions as you wanted, but they had to be vetted.
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah. Every single question has to be checked in those instances, whether you're a VIP or not. You have to come to these things knowing you're going to see the man, the myth, the legend, and knowing that you have a short amount of time to ask him, I don't want to say the right question, but a question that, number one, he's going to be fine with answering, and number two, if you're, an old school fan like we are, maybe ask him something that he hasn't, I remember recently in one of the videos, I don't think it was one of the things with I think he and Frank Welker did something where he's like, I was in this thing called Mighty Man and Yuck. I was Mighty Man and Frank was Yuck. And I had never heard that before, because I've never heard of Mighty Man and Yuck. Yeah, so as much as I know about Peter Cullen's voice acting between Optimus Prime, and he did the voice of Car and Knight Rider, and he's done other things, I never knew that. So if you're going to a convention and you're a lifelong fan like we are on this podcast and on every Transformers pod, find a question that, number one, will get approved. Number two, that is going to be an interesting thing for him to. I love hearing him tell the story of his brother, of his brother Larry and all that and everything else. I love hearing his story. I forget which TFCon panel it is, but every time I watch it, every time TFCon uploads a video, whether it's the full panel or whether it's clips from the panel, I cry every time. Yeah. As much as I say Rodimus rules, Optimus drools, that still doesn't take away from the fact that I love Peter Cullen because of Optimus Prime. So, yeah. Anything else you want to say about TFCon LA 2023?
Oh, sorry, I haven't finished yet.
Oh, okay.
Well, so I went to the panel, obviously. Panel was great. They vetted all the questions. I will say this. Maycat, who has done a lot of stuff for Transformers recently. She's one of she did write some of the episodes for Earthspark. I met her a couple of years ago. So I when I hear her name, I'm like, I just, focus on that just because she's amazing. I love her. She's great. Mm-hmm. She submitted like 3 really great questions and almost all of them got cleared for questions, but she wasn't there. So every single time they said, oh, it's by May, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, that's so great. Anyhow, she did ask some really, really great questions, but Larry was definitely there. And I say that because Cullen has said that Larry has been his inspiration for Optimus Prime. And so he definitely brought that. And I will say, I've seen a lot of clips that like what you're talking about. And it's been a couple years since I've actually been to a panel where he was on. It was a really good panel. And I got lots of deep thoughts, which I actually wrote notes because I wanted to remember everything that he was saying at the time.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
But one of the, it was just really, really great. I had a great experience and, it was really good. And that was all the interaction that I really had with him, to be honest. Oh, okay. So one of the last things I want to say, because this really bothered me and I didn't say anything I probably should have, but as they finish up the panel, they go ahead and escort him out, and they, to have everybody stay there because they don't want, media frenzy.
They don't want to bum rush him. Yeah.
There were 2 things that did happen that I don't know if actually really happened. I kind of hoped. After I got my photo op and my autograph, they had some of the cars show up, and they had a guy has a custom Ironhide, like movie custom Ironhide, as what is the name of the Top Kick GMC truck? Like legit. It was awesome. And I looked around and said, hey, because I know some of the guys hanging out were with some of the owners of the cars. So I was like, hey, me and Heather, because Heather was there. We spent some time with Ironhide. We found the owner, and I asked a ton of questions. And we geeked out over Ironhide. I'm not kidding. It was so funny because here he's talking about he's talking to other guy fans that are out there talking to him about the cars. And then he has these 2 geeky girls come up to him. And 2 geeky women. And we go up to him and I was like, hey, I really like your Ironhide. Is there any way that I could potentially open the door and look inside? And he's like, hey, you want to, I was like, oh yeah, sure. That's fine. And then he's like, hey, you want to sit in it? And I was like, oh, really? Could we do that? And I'm telling you, this guy was just like, you guys are strange women. But it was like,
my weapons specialist, Ironhide. You feeling lucky, punk? Just kidding. I just wanted to show him my cannons.
But it was like, and then we started asking him about some of the custom stuff he's done. And let me tell you, he's done more above and beyond on this Ironhide. Just pimped it out in a huge way. And Heather's like, I want to get one of these someday. And so he's telling her, giving her tips on how to buy it. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is just so like, these are the little things that you can do at some of the Transformers conventions. If you just have enough guts to go up and ask questions, you might actually find that like the people that you're talking with or that bring stuff there are just as much as a fan as you, or they're like really cool to like, work with other fans. So you just got to ask questions and be polite and, be really grateful and all that. And people will do nice things for you. And that can add to your convention, like, in a way that's like that no other convention can do.
I just wanted to show him my cannons.
This looks like a cool place to kick it.
But he was kind of hoping that when Peter Cullen left, because he has some audio stuff on the Ironhide, like he was showing us, and we were just sitting there laughing and geeking out over it. And he's like showing us all the fun little things that he probably wouldn't show anybody else.
Right.
And he was kind of hoping that when Peter left, that he'd walk out the door and that he would play clips from Ironhide just to see what he would react to. I don't know if he did, as I wasn't there to see it because I was in a panel waiting for him to leave. But I hope it did, and I'm going to ask him next year because he said he's going to be there next year. So I'm kind of crossing my fingers. It was a great experience for that guy.
That guy needs to get with the TFCon staff and see if they can bribe Jess to just be laying in the truck bed and just do.
Yeah.
I could imagine that. It's amazing.
That would be fun.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That would be so
But yeah,
fun.
their plan is because he has a custom Ironhide that looks just like him. They also have a Bumblebee, a Barricade, and a Prowl that look really great. And he's kind of hoping next year, because he tried to do it for this year, but he couldn't get it done. They all have audio, like he plays the thing on his phone and he can get them to all talk, like do different voiceovers and stuff like that from the movies.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And he's hoping next year that he's got it figured out where he can actually have them all like talk to each other.
That's
in
so
sequence.
cool.
And I was like, that is awesome. If you can find a way to do that, I tell you right now, I will be here to listen and hear that. And he was like, yeah, well, we'll see what we can do. But it was just like, it's really cool. It was really cool.
That is so
that just
cool.
kind of added to my whole convention. It was a good. I mean, and there are other little things that happened that were just really, really great. So, I mean, I'm only giving you the top highlights, but the whole weekend was really great. And I knew, even going in, that I was going to have a fun time. Even though I wasn't planning on going, but now I'm like, maybe every year that I know, because it's within driving distance for me. I live in Phoenix. It's a 6-hour drive to LA. Yeah. Maybe I should just make sure that anytime I know that there's an LA TFCon, just go ahead and reserve and make sure that you're prepared. And if I decide, 2 or 3 weeks before that I can't go, at least I'm already set to go.
Yep.
And it's not like, like I said, I'll drive because that's nothing. 6-hour drive, I'll do that. But
absolutely. Yeah,
that was pretty much
cool.
it. Those were the good memories that I have, and there's more, but those are the ones that I'd say were the best highlights. So now that I've talked your ear off.
Oh, stop.
Well, it all began about 9 million years ago.
That's very cool. That's very awesome. Yeah. Like I said earlier, I love watching the panels that TFCon uploads to their YouTube channel. I can't do conventions anymore. I just physically cannot do them. Physically and mentally, like,
it's a lot.
It's bad enough. I'm in the grocery store saying, mumbling to myself, don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me, get away from me, stay in your own space. This aisle is like 7 feet wide. You don't have to be right in front, and please hurry up, you old lady, hurry. Pick a lettuce, a head of lettuce, and go. Yeah, I just don't have the temperament for it anymore. Hence why I love it when conventions do the video recordings of the panels and the whatevers, and I get to see them on. Like I said earlier, every Peter Cullen panel I've seen, I cry at because he's just the man.
He is.
Same thing with Frank. Welker Stories, same thing. I think the best Frank Tadaro panel was at one of the TFCons where it was him, Marnosha, and Bailey. Optimus Prime, Megatron, and Starscream. All three of them were on a panel at one of the TFCons, and yeah, absolutely love that. All right, folks. Any final thoughts, Amy? Anything you want to say before I run through the closing and all that?
I was going to say one more thing, but it's kind of more of a downer than an upper. So I was like,
no. Yeah, okay,
I'm just saying no. I'm not gonna. I'll tell you afterwards. It doesn't need to be in the show.
Okay.
Because I want only positive vibes out there, and yeah, do that.
All right, Steve. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to say before we head into the month of Autobotley April?
No, other than when you were mentioning the top kick, my dad actually used to work at the plant that it was built in.
Oh, nice.
So, because when the first film came out, he was working and he sent me a picture and he was like, "Hey, look what I got," and he sent me pictures of it, and that was at the same time I was covering the event at the Sector 7 trailer at the movie theater. So he's sending me pictures for the top kick while I was doing that. So during 2007's release, so I was like, yes,
that is cool. It's a very impressive truck. I'll say that
it is.
It is like, and now that I think I might have seen one in the past, but like comparing that to the semi truck, I can see why he's the weapons dude now. I mean, he has to be beefy enough to be able to keep up with Optimus Prime, and that truck is beefy.
Oh yeah, it's
really
huge.
Beefy. So seeing it in person and actually going up and standing on it and going, oh God, this is great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's so cool, so cool. All right, folks, I think that's going to do it for us here on All Things Transformers. Coming up, as I mentioned, over the next month in April, Steve and I have at least two Autobotley April episodes that'll cross over with the pull bag, where we cover the Marvel US run from the 80s. And yeah, that's what's going to happen in April. Who knows what's going to happen in May? And then Rise of the Beasts is out in theaters in June 9th, 2023. Get excited. Those beasts are going to be rising somewhere. Boy, what a lot of yeast those beasts are. All right. Talk about bread and butter. Thank you for joining us here on All Things Transformers. If you'd like to get in contact with us or leave feedback for the show, there are several ways to do so. Visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can listen to and comment on all of our content. Send any email to feedback@geekcastradio.com. You can check us out on any of the podcatching clients you choose to use. You can follow us on Twitter at geekcastradio, or at All Things TFV3 for the show. I am at TFG and Mike. Steve, what's your Twitter?
At SCP21.
Amy, what's yours?
Lady of Wreck on Twitter. That's me.
Become a fan on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/geekcastradio. You can also check out All Things Transformers over there as well. As I mentioned, next time, Volume 2 of the Marvel run, because we did Volume 1 in episode 101 of the Pull Bag way back in 2015. So it's taken us 8 years to return to the Marvel US run, because, yikes, 5 colors on one page is just not enough color. Yeah. Hey, I'm coming around to it. I'm slowly coming around to it. So that's what's coming up here next time. I am TFG and Mike with
Steve Megatron
and Lady of Wreck.
Transform and transcend with us here on All Things Transformers, and we will catch you next time.
Planning for the future. Now go!
On our way, Bossbot.
As you command, my queen. Oh, I do wish he'd stop calling me that. Yes.
I wish to speak to my lawyer.